Okay, so it is the next day, and we are now done cutting our flashing. We got this guy done. Oh, and if you have black cats, don't let a stray hair freak you out and think that you accidentally stabbed your guy with the X-Acto knife. That's what happened to me earlier. Kind of really made my heart stop for a minute. What is it, Lily? I have a very talkative dog behind me. Don't bump the camera, please. Oh, I think that was me. Sorry, guys. What else? We also got, yeah, before I went cleaning this up, I definitely, hello, can you focus? I definitely wanted to show you guys how thick this stuff is, especially around his bottom. And there was a lot of hacking and slashing. I don't know how to best show you guys. So I'm definitely gonna have to go in and clean this stuff up. No. Oh, there we go. You can see some of this down here. So this is gonna have to sit in here, right? So I want all of this stuff to be smooth, but before I did that, I wanted to show you guys exactly just how tricky this is and give you some little, okay, get this ball out from underneath me, Lily. Sorry, this just may be one of these videos. Yeah, seriously, what was I saying? Bunny, squirrel, what a cute dog. See, okay, yes, X-Acto knife. I know I said this yesterday, but oh my gosh, you gotta keep it sharp, and you only want to use the tip when going in here working on these, because the last thing you want to do is pierce the other side of the doll's body. And this stuff is so thick. I did a lot of like I said, sawing and hacking in here, and this is what we've got before cleanup. Now I'm gonna have to go and clean this up so that this, and now I'm just repeating myself. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what the insides of these look like before you clean them up. Tricky. Oh my gosh, so tricky. Also, yes, this blue vinyl, very, very tricky. You can see this side actually looks fairly decent. You can see here where the X-Acto knife, hello, X-Acto knife got a little squirrely and tried to get away from me up here. It's always a little frightening when that happens, and I am later going to take my Dremel and clean this neck hole up. I'm going to do it outside because this thing totally freaks out my dog. And I'm sure not going to do it outside right now. Let's see, other things to really be careful about. Oh, yeah, I guess I could have showed you this. This was, you know, inside here. Like these. And yeah, I managed to get this thing out in one solid piece. This is the second time I've managed to do that. Yeah, that's how thick and serious this stuff is. This is very tricky business. Okay, going back to the chest piece. Again, you want this vinyl really hot. You want your X-Acto knife really sharp. You only want to use the tip. And the trickiest part to this is these little tabs that are attached here. And the easiest thing that I have found to do is just to try to go in straight with the contour of the, I don't know, the bust line here. And it's almost always next to impossible to get a nice straight cut, which again is makes the Dremel your friend. Okay, so we've got that done. That's all the vinyl cut except for, that's right, I was going to talk about this too. I need to go get the other boys. Except for his port, his stand port, which would ordinarily go just like this. And then you would plug the stand into here like so. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be using this guy as an experiment. I don't use my stand a lot, almost never. And I'm going to see how big of a difference it actually makes. We may have to come back and cut him one. But I wanted to show you what not to do. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So here we have Aoi, my first Chaos built boy. And as you can see, he's cinnamon. So he was deceptively Eevee for me. And his port is still not seated all the way in. You may or may not be able to tell there. But it's definitely functional. And that's actually still a little bit low. But it's not too bad. Like I said, I can put his stand in and he works just fine. I also had plenty of success with my second build, which I didn't bring, which was a Cocoa Boy. And then my third build, Mr. Orion here, I cut his port too low. And it's funny, it doesn't look that much different from Aoi's, but it is, and we had to do some serious finagling, and his port will not sit flush. Aoi's will, Orion's will not. So this is devilishly tricky, and I meant to do this experiment with this guy, not my blue boy.
Why do that?
I say la vie. The previous ports, I just did with an X-Acto knife, and I referenced my boys from Culture Japan as to where to put it, because you want to put it like here in this perfect little divot. You'd think that was where it would sit, but no, it sits higher than that, and that is how it's able to actually sit flush and then meet up. See what's happening here is that these two, you know, this is the spine that goes inside the doll. This part here sits right up against here, and then this part goes in here, and this secures the spine to the doll, like so. Yes. And you know, there you go. You put your stand in it, and you can stand up. I have previously sanded the port, stand port, because oh my god, this is next to bloody impossible to hammer in there. And literally, where's my hammer? Literally, it takes more strength than I want to exert, and everyone who's strong enough in my house is too afraid to help me because they're so afraid of breaking my doll, which I totally understand. That would be devastating for everybody. Me, them, everybody. I guess, yeah, this is just kind of going organically here. I also sand this here, as well as, ew, I don't even want to do it. I don't even want it, but this is what we're here today to do, so. This, I had the most trouble getting this piece of the arm back together than I did anything else in this build. Thank goodness for E.M. Johnson, Division 53. Otherwise, I don't think I would have built any of these boys. Okay, so I'm also going to be sanding these pieces here. These pieces. And, oh, I think that's it. That's it. So these pieces here that'll go into the shoulder joint that goes into the shoulder blade, and the lower, the upper, the downer, the witchety, watchety, into the upper arm, the upper elbow into the upper arm. I don't know, does that make any sense? It makes sense to me. So, okay, let's see. I am using 120 grit Sandpaper pretty darn fine. I am sanding these very, very lightly. The last thing I want to do is sand it to the point that it just falls out. I still want this to be very, very snug, very, very secure. So I'll be very lightly sanding this just all the way around and then trying multiple times to get that fit, because like I said, I don't want it to be too loose. Also, sometimes I have found it is helpful to work these a little bit before you install them. It just makes you get these dolls together and they're very, very stiff to begin with, and then they feel a lot more fragile than they actually are. But all the same, you know, work them around a little. Yeah, this this right joint, this right hip joint is much, oh my gosh, so much tighter. What do I want to do next? Let's do some sanding, and then once we've got some joints sanded down, we will start putting the frames into the vinyl, and then we'll start assembling. How exciting. I guess I could do one for you, just so you see how little tiny bit of sanding I do mean. And all I'm doing is just, you know, very slowly rotating the joint in my hand while I am sanding. That's literally all. Big science. Big science, big science. Around the corners here. And that's literally, that's it. That's all I'm gonna do. So, as light a sanding as possible, and I have found that that has been enough. Okay, so we're gonna do that to these 4 pieces, and then we'll get everything warming up to get it all together. We'll do it together. Wow, this is more like it. My cats don't like it though. And it's a little on the icy side. Okay, so this one here has not been sanded. Okay. And this one here has. I'm trying to, there we go. This one has been sanded. So I'm going to show you the difference between this one, which is not. This one has not been sanded. Okay. I'm trying to be careful here because this thing's already bit me once. Okay. That's how hard it is to get these things out without sanding. Ugh. And with the sanded joint, it's still snug, but you can see I didn't have to use near as much force. So that's why we're sanding these suckers down.
18%. I don't know if the battery's gonna make it, yo.
Okay, so got everything all cleaned up around the edges here. And now we're ready for some putting stuff together. And I'm quite sure that I'm going to need a lot more heat, so I'm just going to show you guys what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do it off camera because it's going to be a bit of a struggle. But I'm going to get this thigh piece very, 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 very warm, and then I'm going to shove it on there like this. And I think this is probably the best tip I can give you, is to make sure that you've got like this, the vinyl itself like puckered up against it, and like I said, as hot as you can stand it, and it's not at all inconceivable that you're gonna have to go and trim this hole wider. So On a couple of these boys, I've had to trim them a good bit, and then on one I trimmed it very, very, very little. So I'm pretty sure these are all standard. So what the heck that was about, I don't really know. I'm assuming it was just softer vinyl. So anyways, we're gonna get on one, and then we're going to come back and put these on here, and then we're gonna put on the other one. So let's do that. Wow, that required very little trimming. I'm surprised. So again, make sure the screws are to the back. Alright. And so left goes to the left. Yeah, we're gonna have to heat him up a little bit to get this in here. Alright. Just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing over, hey, where's my other leg? Oh yeah, gotta heaten up. But we're going to pop this socket out like this and put the other thigh on.
My battery's dying. It's dying. Can you get some camera? No.
This one I'm gonna have to trim. Okay. As you can see, I trim a very tiny bit at a time. Last thing I want is for this thing to slip off. Straight in. And that side took a little more convincing. We did a lot more trimming with this than we did the other side. Go figure. I am shocked this battery is not gone. 4%. Okay, let's get a fresh battery, shall we? Let's.